What's up with it, bruh?
What's the deal?
Nothing much, man. Introduce yourself so people know who you are.
I am the only Irv Da Phenom, singer, songwriter, fashionista, restaurant connoisseur, aspiring wine sommelier. Well,
There's a lot of titles. That's a lot of titles, man.
That's why I just say Phenom. It's easier to put in that word.
I'm gonna say, before we get into each topic, each title, start off with just saying, just get to know you a little bit better. What part of Kansas City did you grow up in?
I'm from Kansas City, Kansas. Best way to explain it, like, you from St. Louis, so you know you got St. Louis and East St. Louis.
Yeah.
Same type of energy, unfortunately, with Kansas City, Missouri.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, I'll put it like this. No disrespect to St. Louis. I love St. Louis. But when we go to St. Louis and people make the distinction, like, nah, I'm from East St. Louis. Like, bro, I don't care. I don't care. And it's the same thing with Kansas City. You know, we're like, nah, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Nigga, nobody cares. But welcome to Kansas City, whatever side you want. Just as well as, you know, when I'm in St. Louis, I'm in St. Louis. But I know that there's an East St. Louis and a St. Louis. So Kansas City, Kansas, it's literally just, you got the state line, so we just separated by some water. That's it.
Yeah. Well, we're close right here in Westport. You guys just drive, 5 minutes across?
Yeah, you go west, and boom, you be over there in like Rosedale. Mm-hmm. So you in Kansas.
Yeah. How would you describe your life coming up in Kansas City?
My life in Kansas City, my life has just been a blessing, period, because it's life. You know, I'm still here, so it's been cool. In Kansas City, we're a very work-driven, salt of the earth type place. So you got a lot of hard-working people, a lot of people with strong belief systems, you know, who believe in God, go to church, go work your job, get your money, take care of your family. You know what I mean? So growing up here, it's been instilled in me to have a certain kind of work ethic when it comes to anything I do. So it was cool, you know. I want to say it's pretty typical as far as like the environment I grew up in. You know, you go out there, do whatever with the homies, but somewhere along the line, I just shifted gears and put all that energy towards music. And also in my upbringing, my father started a tire shop when I was like 4. So I grew up essentially working at that tire shop my whole life. So that kind of kept me out of a lot of stuff until I was old enough to drive. But yeah, I grew up working at the shop. So shout out to Urban's Tires, a community staple in Kansas City, Kansas. New and used tires if you need some tires. If you blow out a tire on I-70, come on to Kansas City and come to Case and get you a new tire.
Yeah. I think I seen you like had it in one of your videos.
Yeah.
Video there.
If you watch the Steel music video, you'll see there's tires in the background, and that's actually my shop where I grew up working, and eventually came in and have been running for like the last 5 years, putting my family in position to be able to retire. Because, you know, entrepreneurship is a different kind of beast. You know, you ain't got the cushy retirement plan the same as another job. So yeah, it's been cool though. I love Kansas City.
Was this business passed down from, like you said, from your father?
Yeah. My father started it 20 some odd years ago, and you know, they just get to the point where it's like, you know, they're older and they ready to go to a warmer climate. So I just came in and having the knowledge of internet and social media marketing, and you know, the little bit I learned just in marketing. I love marketing. So yeah, I ran that, and you know, things are in a good space now. So shout out to everybody that's made Urban Star community staple.
Definitely. Now you kind of started on the topic, but you kind of breezed through. You said that like for your environment, it was kind of like the typical, you know, you're doing things with the homies, but you took a different track.
Yeah.
Kansas City. Some people would give it the nickname Killer City. Mm-hmm. From your perspective, why would you think someone would call it that?
Killer City? It's an unfortunate nickname, but nonetheless, you know what I'm saying, the numbers tell you why. But it's just because you know, I'd have to go all the way back to like the Black Panther Party and like a whole bunch of government stuff to explain why, but it's the same why that's in Chicago. Well, I ain't gonna say the same why, because little nuances to different cities. But in general, you know what I mean, you put people in a certain position and you create these environments. You know what I'm saying? It's the ghettos that's been created in every city in America. This one just happens to be in Kansas City. So it's nothing too unique here. I feel like it's just it's the black experience or the certain level of income, the poor experience across America. So it's the hood. The hood is the hood. But yeah, I mean that's why it's called Killer City. People get killed a lot.
Like you said, the Killer City. Then like you just kind of mentioned Chicago. It's the Chirac. Kind of comes with like I guess the almost like boasting of the hood element of it.
Yeah, and that's I got a record called Killer City State of Mind. Mm-hmm. And although I love the record, and the record elaborates on that, a few years later, I kind of like, I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I even giving it that energy, even talking about it is crazy because you lose so many people. And like right now I'm in therapy, and as I'm going through therapy and realizing how many of these losses have affected me in what kind of way, to where I'm 34 and just now crying about a funeral from 15 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like it's heavy though, but it's very real. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it is what it is.
What drove you want to do therapy?
I had a mental breakdown. I had a mental break. Top of the summer, spring. Spring, summer. And I had been to therapy before, but I had a bad experience in therapy. You got to remember, therapists are just people. You know what I'm saying? So everybody ain't gonna be qualified. Everybody ain't gonna do their job right, just like any other job. But yeah, so just life. I was in a real heavy transitional place in my life. I had just sold my house. I was dealing with pressure from, stretching myself too thin for a lot of people as a provider. And, when you're the reliable one or the strong friend, there's a weight that comes with that. And there's also a lack of, hey, are you okay? Hey, let's call Irv and make sure he's straight. Nobody does it.
You're the strong friend, right?
And on top of that, you're known as the strong friend. So you start to live up to this and be like, I got it. I'm cool. I'm cool. And I'm cool so long that you're not cool. In addition to, I realized the way that I dealt with trauma my whole life has been to work. So the homie could die, and the next day I'm gonna go out and make some money because I'm making money for the homie. I'm greeting for the homie. It's always something, like whatever the trauma is, my counter to it was to work myself to death, or to work so hard that I don't have time to stop and think about the traumatic thing that happened to me. So around the top of the year, I was transitioning back into full-time creating music, clothing, my creativity. And when I did that, it gave me a lot more time to sit still with myself and my thoughts and processing things that over the last 30 years never got processed. And when you're sitting there in that silence, you know what I'm saying, like, that's when it catches up. That's when you start thinking about things, you start remembering things, start feeling stuff that you had suppressed for so long. And also I stopped drinking so much. I stopped smoking weed for real. And in this sober mind, like I feel like Kendrick said on his most recent album, he said, you haven't felt grief until you felt grief sober. Mm-hmm. And that's yeah.
You gotta deal with it. I would say this, 2020, of course, that's the beginning of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And everything shut down, March to roughly about July. So in that time frame, would you feel like that was the moment where you had to really face your issues
in the pandemic?
Yeah, because a lot of people, I know for myself, during that time, you couldn't go nowhere, you didn't have nowhere to really escape, so you just had to be in the house.
Oh no, I had a ball through the pandemic. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God bless everything that happened that hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's unfortunate.
Well, I'm not saying from a financial point, like you said, like a mental point.
No, for me, I was kicking it. Here's what's funny. I had started a catering company at the top of the year. It was the end of 2019. Started this catering company. Mm-hmm. Booming. I mean, like Zoom, which, oh my God. Zoom conference calls, I had no idea that this is who we were catering for. One of our accounts was Zoom, who has a headquarters here in Kansas City. So not even really realizing where the world is about to go. Had that as one of the accounts. Had a few different little spots just doing catering. I love to cook. That's where you get phenomenal taste and all this type of stuff from. So yeah, it was good. And then the company was popping, but everything shut down for the pandemic, and that was kind of a bummer. But what I realized was it was the break that we all needed, the time to reevaluate, the time to say, you know what, I should take my daughter outside and play more often. Because I remember walking down the street and being like, I didn't know a family lived there. I didn't know there was children that lived there, because the whole family's in the front yard playing kickball, playing base. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. So yeah, it was cool. And for me, it was good to slow down and reevaluate, like why do I get up? I've never worked for anybody, so it still gave me time to reevaluate what I do with my time, what my daily thing was, because the tire shop is an essential business, so we were still open through the whole pandemic. But I did notice a lot of people got to reevaluate, why am I getting out of bed and clocking in at this place when clearly I could just do it from home? You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a lot of businesses, took off, and a lot of creators and things like that. Like you said, mm-hmm. Kind of started before the interview. That was when I started to really elevate my little thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But it was a cool time for mental health. Like, I spent more time like fishing, doing what I like to do, but I still hadn't dug in as far as like traumas and like, you know what I'm saying, the heavy stuff. But it was a good like time to self-evaluate and just see where I was at.
Yeah. I know it was a recent project you just did, a recent single,
mm-hmm.
Keep Bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of spoke about, dealing with self-love,
mm-hmm.
relationship, and
mm-hmm.
things like that. From your point of view, like, today modern relationships, they don't really, stand the chance of longevity, sort of
mm-hmm.
like staying together.
Right.
And it could be from issues like social media, or even like, with the talk with femininity and masculinity
mm-hmm.
roles. What's your thoughts just on that topic? Like, as far as like, men, they don't want to, cater to a woman because they don't want to like a sucker or something
mm-hmm.
like that. And then the women, they, not all of them, say not, but the women, they don't want to just submit to a man. They feel like,
mm-hmm.
he gotta give up,
mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Essentially, when it comes to relationships right now, we're at this, I hate it. Like, I hate this nasty standoff. You feel me? Where it's just like a battle of the sexes and like a versus, instead of yin and yang. You know what I'm saying? The negative polarity and the positive polarity. It's two things that are supposed to complement each other. And there's no more powerful thing that we can do physically than create a whole nother person. To bring another person to this realm of reality, that's what happens when men and women get together. That should tell you everything. But what we're doing right now is so backwards and against, you know what I'm saying, what our dynamic should be, that it's just chaos right now. It's real chaotic. And then you have social media playing this role of like, it becomes an echo chamber for incorrect way of thinking. You know what I mean? And it's reinforced. Now it's like, if something's toxic or somebody does something toxic, it's cute, it's funny, people laugh and joke about it. It's like, nah, it's funny until somebody die behind it, or somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's so much, it's still real people.
Mm-hmm.
So people are buying into this illusion where being toxic is cute. And I think of the quote that everything that's permissible isn't necessarily advisable. So you can do whatever, and I'm for everybody doing whatever, but I just feel like you gotta pick one though, for real. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be a hot boy, you're gonna be a city boy, go do your thing. You're gonna be a city girl, go do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta just be that. But I feel like the issue we running into is deep down, people, we still want that old school love. We want that longevity. We want that security. But we watching toxic shit get celebrated so much, we scared. You know what I'm saying? We scared to, because like you said, dudes don't want to look like suckers. But as a man, I can speak for myself. It's in my nature to provide. It's in my nature to, this is mine. I'm taking care of this. I don't care about nothing else. That's just how I'm wired. And I feel like it's a lot of women. It's in a woman's nature to receive. So when you mention like, you know, like gimme, 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 I get that because it's a woman's nature to receive. They receive our seed and make a person out of it. They receive and multiply. So it's like, it's just getting tainted. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of us want to walk in our true nature, but we looking at a world where you a clown for giving a chick everything. You a fool because you cooking for this dude.
Yes,
and da 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 da. And it's just like, nah, like it boils down to like self-love. And then when you really understand and love yourself enough to say, okay, this is what I stand on. This is the type of man or woman I am. So with that, I'm going to require this of the person I deal with. And you got to love yourself enough to stand on that to whenever you might be feeling this person. They might physically be attractive. They might make you feel this way, that way, but they fall short in this area that's vital for you. You got to love yourself enough to be like, well, that ain't going to work. Keep pushing. And it's a patient. You got to be patient. It takes certain patience, but we're in a very instant gratification generation right now. So we're not trying to wait. We're trying to like, okay, well, maybe we can shoehorn it. Maybe we can make it work. But yeah, it's an interesting time we in, but I don't want anybody. I think that if you're watching this and you feel like what I'm saying resonates with you, like, just take your time. You have to take your time and be patient. Like, if you really, you know, that's where that love for yourself come in. You gotta be loyal to yourself and your standards.
Most definitely, I agree. Speaking of just relationships, Big Lover, man, you got a date yet?
Big Lover, first quarter. It's first quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, Big Lover coming first quarter. You know what I mean? And yeah, we about to go crazy.
Yeah. Any leaks up on it or nothing like that? I was just doing a photo shoot the other day, wasn't you?
No, that's for merch. I haven't done the album cover shoot yet, but nothing's out yet. Right now, it's sequencing, making sure that the story is conveyed exactly how I want it. You know, the most I can say without giving everything away is that you see the title Big Lover, and automatically, again, we're surface level, we're instant gratification, we're ADHD. It's just like, oh yeah, he be having all the girls, and you know, it's a sexual thing. It's bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? It's like real Big Lover is like you have a love for life when you walk out the door. You have a love for yourself. It's so many steps before you get to a relationship, and this album explores this while at the same time giving you some baby making records. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's there's nothing that's gonna be like this. There hasn't been an R&B album like this yet.
And your music is what some would call like traditional hip hop, or you say like R&B. Do you think with the youth today that music is respected? I would say that.
Yeah, it's crazy because like you always see this group of like now they Gen Z, so they like, oh, I should have been born in the 90s. Oh, I should have been born in the wooty wooty woo. And at this point, it's not just like the uncle DNA kicking in right now, but it's like dead ass. It's like there's a certain integrity to them records. There's a certain level of emotion in the records when you listen to even as early as Confessions by Usher. There was a rawness to that album. There's gravity to the album. There's weight to it. And where R&B has gone as far as popularity, because we've been making this kind of R&B. The real R&B has never stopped being made. But what gets pushed to the forefront is, I just did Molly and cheated on my girlfriend with your girlfriend. Just nasty, low vibrational shit. We not all nasty and low vibrational. Some of us want a happy house, a wife, children, and we don't want nobody else. But nobody's speaking for them. You see what I'm saying? Because it's not cool. So for me, going from, you know, I've been wild before. I've been out here plenty, and that's why I'm at where I'm at. Like, I've seen guys not making no new models of women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all feel the same after a while. Like, what?
Real shit.
Can you build an empire with me? Can you raise my children to be kings and queens? That's what's. If I run up $10 million in assets, can you manage those if something happened to me? Do you have your own $10 million in assets because I taught you something, you retained it, then made your own 10? So it's like, who's talking about that? You see what I'm saying? But we exist. So
it's not, like you said, it's not pushed to the forefront.
It's not pushed to the forefront. What's pushed to the forefront is like infidelity, and I don't trust you, you don't trust me, and I'm toxic and it's cute, and that shit corny. And I'm 34, bro. That's goofy. Like, if that's where you at in your life, I think that's where you at in your life. But For those of us who aren't at that point anymore, we just like, I don't like riding to certain frequencies, you know what I'm saying? And I like music to be a soundtrack to my reality. That's why Nipsey Hussle is one of my favorite artists, because he was providing a soundtrack for me to go get some money to, for me to aspire to something bigger to. So this is the soundtrack for people to love the biggest way possible to. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
I know you mentioned in the beginning that you were fashionista.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you this. He kind of spoke about like kids wanting to be born and like wishing they was born in like the 90s and things like that. Let's take the 90s fashion compared to like the early 2000s, or even the fashion that's kind of going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Just what are your opinion on each one of those? Or which one do you think is like better? I'll say that because I say this.
What time periods are we
time
saying?
periods? Yeah. The 90s, you know, the early 2000s, like as far as like from 2000 to 2010, and then from 2010 on to now, almost.
The early 2000s got so damn big, dog. Like the clothes were so big, G. Like what's crazy? I think the nastiest fashion period had to be the early 2000s, which was like I was like 8th grade. We was wearing like 4XL t-shirts, just some sick shit. We was nasty, dog. Like, and then you got the long ass shorts. They hella long, and then you wearing them 3 sizes big, so the hem of your short is touching the top of your shoe. It was nasty. That was a sick time. So yeah.
But then you got, like I said, like the 90s and stuff like that. The 90s, they it was kind of baggy too then.
The bagginess in the 90s was like more so about the silhouette. You know what I'm saying? And the silhouette of what you wear, like a zoot suit. You know what I'm saying? A zoot suit has a certain shape to it, and it wasn't super tight, but it just had a distinct shape. So in the 90s, you had a lot of those, like Calvin Klein was one of the big designers then, and he provided a certain silhouette. Even the bagginess back then, there was still a certain silhouette, because you have the Tim, like the big boots. You have like the, what they call them? The beef and brocks, you know, just the certain look back then. Like Tupac was a silhouette. He didn't wear a shirt, or he wear no shirt, boxers slightly up above the waistline of the jeans, but it was a silhouette. Whereas in the 2000s, it was just like a blob of nasty. So I think my favorite period though was like not skinny jean, but right around the time where it became cool to tailor things. You know what I mean? Tailored fits, like Tom Ford's Gucci designs. Crazy. So I would say the 2010s, we've had some real interesting fashion, and it's getting crazy now too. You know what I mean? It's kind of everywhere now because we got Instagram. So now you can take the aesthetics from this, put them all together, and you got these kids looking like growing up seeing from the Yeezy type designs to the, you know, over in Europe, super tailored, skinny looking stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, now it's dope too.
What do you think about like people saying they making like their own fashion lines? Like I said, look, I got a label on my shirt now. Mm-hmm. I just say, oh, this, I got my own views from the arch fashion line. Do you think that's a line or?
Yeah, for sure. It's always a lane. Like what's interesting about any hard good now, be it well, I guess intellectual goods too. Like be it music, be it a t-shirt, be it a candle, any product. The first step is building your community. So it don't even matter what your clothes look like, to be honest. It really comes down to what does that logo on your shirt represent, and how strong you built a brand defined around that logo. So then people aren't buying it because of the thread count of the shirt or the quality of the ink. They're buying it because it's like, this means this. Like if there's a movie that nobody else has seen, that only you've seen, but it's your favorite movie, and then I mention that movie, you're like, oh my nigga, you know about so-and-so? Now we gang, because of that movie. So that's what you got to make your logo mean, your brand mean. And then when you put on a t-shirt, yeah, it goes crazy. And then if it's high quality, even better. But yeah, it's definitely lame.
Yeah. Speaking of like you just said, like I guess like with the meaning of what's on your shirt or the brand or whatever, what do you think about Kanye West recently with the White Lives Matter show?
Oh, yay! fam, fuck. He's making it difficult. He's. I feel like as a Kanye West fan, the nigga is putting us through it. He's been putting us through it for a long time, but it's just exhausting because it's like, bruh, just give us some music. Because here's the thing. We don't have to tell you he's a musical genius, he's a great mind, so on and so forth, because, you know, people are like, I don't care, what, you know. But whenever you're a fan and people know you're a fan of him, every time he does some crazy shit, what's up with your boy, what's up with your, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, I don't. So, you know, I pray for everybody who's dealing with any kind of anything, you know what I'm saying? If it's a mental health issue, if it's a level of persecution that we can't understand because we not playing with billions, we not playing with M's. We don't know what they doing to that man in them boardrooms. You see what I'm saying? And we don't know the toll that takes on you psychologically. Because a lot of us couldn't handle our manager at McDonald's, let alone people playing with M's. You feel me? So, as far as all that stuff, obviously I don't agree with a lot of. He's playing with movements that have so much meaning and validity to them, and even if he might get the punchline and it might be, you know, he's light years ahead of us, we don't need him to be light years ahead of us. We need our visionaries and our leaders and our great thinkers to be able to translate, to give us the value out of what they're thinking and saying right now. And that's what we need. So, you know, God bless it. Hopefully, because here's the thing, good, bad, ugly, that man's a leader. And you just hope that your leaders lead the people who put weight in what they say to the right place and lead people to a healthy space. So, give us a break, fam. Give your fans a break.
Yeah. Like I just kind of mentioned before we started the interview, you know, we out here right now just enjoying, you know, the city while we out here for the weekend. You kind of suggested some restaurants, and you just said that you're also a wine enthusiast. What wines would you recommend?
So when it comes to wine, there's like a billion kinds of different wines. I say that. Are you a wine drinker? Or you get into it or what?
Here and there. I drink it if she does, but other than that, yeah.
So if you're not super well versed in wine, excuse me, I say when you get to the restaurant, if it's a more upscale restaurant, you might have a sommelier who can tell you all about the wines, the ins and the outs, and what it pairs with. And then usually when they train their servers, they're going to teach them, if somebody orders this chicken dish, offer them this sweet Riesling or maybe this rosé. If they order this steak, offer them this this Merlot or like this dark red wine because it pairs well. So I think the best way to start would be asking your server based on your dish what wine is going to pair well with it, and then you'll start understanding, oh, this wine brings out this flavor profile in this dish, and then it opens up the floodgates of like, oh, okay. But if you just drinking wine by itself, some people do that, but I think that the best way to get into it would be that. So I can't say a specific wine to try first. If you like sweet stuff, try Moscato, try Rosé. Riesling is good. But yeah, you know, that's it. And, you know, I never want people to think I'm promoting drinking, like you know what I mean? But
I asked the question, man. I asked the question.
It's more of a cultural thing that represents growth and exploration of the world around us for me. Because being from where I'm from the hood, you know, you used to seeing some rich old white folks swirling a glass of wine. Oh, it smells oaky with a little bit of sea moss, you know what I mean? But it's not. I have this saying, and this dope shit is for everybody. Dope shit is not just for rich old white people. And you don't have to be rich. There's this stigma on a lot of things that we should all be enjoying, but we're worried about looking a certain way, or we're intimidated by it. It's like, nah, don't be intimidated, man. Go try that wine, you know, try a thing you haven't tried before, and just jump in sometimes. Like, and then you'll find that you'll relate to a lot of people who aren't from where you're from completely different backgrounds, because of your love of this particular thing, be it fashion, music, food, I made friends with millionaires over wine, just because if there's nothing else we can relate about, we just talking about why we prefer this wine over this wine with a certain dish. And then if we both can understand the notes that it brings out, it's like, I see, it's like that movie we was talking about. Movies, fashion, food.
Like you said, we gain just over.
We become gang. As humans, we relate over so many different things. And although I'm introverted, a lot of times when it comes to certain things I love, I always find my community through those things. And you know, for me, wine pairing has just been one of those things.
Yeah. Do you consider it is labeled as a wine, but table port? You tried it?
Hey, you know what's funny? I've seen the memes. Boy, we will promote some shit. We'll blow something up on some social media. Nah, I haven't tried it, but I've seen every meme about it. And at the gas station on the way over here, I seen a bottle of Capriccio. And I remember that Capriccio summer. Did you try Capriccio?
I ain't tried Capriccio. It got the same type of energy that Taylor Port is going in.
Boy, it's like a fancy Four Loko.
Yep.
Yeah, that Capriccio, boy, woo, that was a summer right there. But they say we had a time. We had a time that summer.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, I guess close it out here. Do you have any shout outs or anything like that?
I just want to encourage everybody to continue to dream big, hustle hard, be yourself, love yourself. I got the Dream Big, Hustle Hard truck. It's my mobile boutique that I'm launching, where I'm able to pull up, do pop-up shops, sell exclusive merchandise that you can only find on this truck.
It's your clothing line, right?
Yeah. So I got Phenomenal Taste gear on there. I got my Dream Big, Hustle Hard gear. I got vinyls. Just any idea. It's my platform for me to say, it'd be tight. Like, what if I just made some coasters? You feel me? And I'm gonna do a limited run of 50 coasters. You can come get a coaster. Or it's just my little space to bring the stuff out of my head to people and see them in real life. When you talked about the pandemic, you know what I'm saying? It made me appreciate real life interaction again. So yeah, that's what I got coming up. And if this is your first time seeing me in an interview, follow me, and I guarantee there's something that we both into that and I'm not even talking about the music, it's something that we gonna vibe on. So follow me on Instagram, on YouTube, check out my travel vlog. I just be chilling, bro. I'm chilling, traveling, making music, and just loving life.
Yeah. I'm saying, let them know where they can follow you at.
At Irv Da Phenom on all social medias. That's IRVDAPHENOM on all social media platforms. And like, subscribe, leave comments, help us beat the algorithm.